What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday, if you like that sort of thing. My name is Brett. It is episode 803 of Pop Culture Crisis. I am here once again with my co-host. She does not have a case of the Mondays. Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't. Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. It is a beautiful day and the start to a brand new week. I feel optimistic.
I was actually not. I was like, maybe I'm putting words in her mouth. Maybe she is having a case of the Mondays and she's just hiding it well.
No, you read it correctly.
Good,
I feel good about the start to a new week.
It's going to be a good one this week.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
for sure.
Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. The best way that you can help this show grow is to share the video out with your friends and your family and your loved ones, everybody in your life that you know. The more people that you share the segments with, the faster the channel grows. Also, liking the videos and subscribing and putting all the notifications on helps as well. When you like the live streams, it tells YouTube, hey, I like this content. I'll show you more of it. So go ahead and like it. And we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Number one being that Snow White flopped harder than LeBron James. And I've been loving those LeBron James songs that were going around.
I saw you liking them on Instagram.
I love the brain rot LeBron James songs.
It's infecting my algorithm because I follow you and it's like, you would like this, right?
Yeah, and we're behind the schedule too because they've been making brain rot songs about glazing LeBron for like a month now. So as all boomers like me are, you're at least a month behind.
The reals boomers.
You know, I don't watch them on TikTok. I watch them on Instagram a month later, like a civilized individual. So we're going to talk about the absolute bombing of Snow White. It failed hard over the weekend, worse than Dumbo in 2019. So we are going to get into that. We are also going to talk about this creepy shit that's going on in White Lotus. It's ignited an entire discussion because Hollywood is full of weirdos and degenerates that want to tell you that you're a weirdo. Because they want you like, what do you don't like my weird shit? You're weird.
They're like, if you feel weird watching this, that means you're the creep.
Exactly.
I'm not the creep for making it. You're the creep for thinking it's creepy.
So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to get into the most complex and interesting morning routine that you've ever seen. The fitness influencers have annoyed everybody, and everybody is responding in kind.
Yeah, someone in the chat said they think it's going to be cringe of the day. Oh, no. Just get your hopes up now because the cringe today is nuclear. It's not actually...
that bad?
Yeah, it's not as bad as the morning routine guy. We'll get to him in due time, but the cringe today is even worse.
Okay. His name's Ashton Hall. So, you know, guy looks rich. Who am I to tell the guy he's doing it wrong? So, all right, we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. We're going to dunk on Alec Baldwin again, which is another fun pastime here at PCC. You ready?
My favorite activity is, of course.
And before we get started, I do want to point out, guys, that what you can do, another way that you can help the show grow, other than just liking the videos and watching live and subscribing to the channel, you can help us Save the GONGO by purchasing your very own Save the GONGO merch. It's very simple. You just go out and you wear this shirt and people will ask you, you know, what is the GONGO? Right. Where is the GONGO?
You can spread the word. You know, everyone says thoughts and prayers for the GONGO, but you can actually make a difference by buying a t-shirt or a mug. Instead of just thinking about their suffering, you can actually donate to help out. So
links are in the description.
1% of proceeds will be going to the Gonganese.
True.
Promise.
Like all true nonprofits. Yeah.
And here at USPCC, we're actually about making a difference.
Go ahead and pick up a mug. And don't tell anybody you weren't helping the world, because you're helping the world.
You're a philanthropist.
All right.
Don't let anyone tell you different.
Let's get started then.
Alec Baldwin for sure has a humiliation fetish. If his relationship with Iraria is anything to go off of. Last week, we talked about this viral clip where she castigates him on the red carpet for interrupting her. And then they have followed up on the virality of that clip, thinking the best course of action is to make light of the whole thing. And they are coining this term I've never heard of before, man-terrupting. And in this clip, you can see Ilaria is mocking Alec for man-terrupting her in that clip that everyone was spreading around. Before we watch that, we have a 20 from Jose Quintana. Happy Monday. Out of morbid curiosity, I did see Snow Woke. I think for little kids, it was simple enough. For the rest of us, nuclear woke, Dopey can talk, Ghost Empress, I seek your illumination in saving the GONGO. Yeah, we're all, you know, joining together hearts and minds and trying to come up with ideas and solutions to help the Gonganese. But Yeah, I think that for kids, it's a best idea to just show them the original. Like, they don't need to sit down and watch the live action. If all you're looking for is a pastime, show them the old one.
There you go.
Simple enough.
It'll be interesting. We'll talk more about it later. We'll get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and watch this video.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why, yes, we'll have to like just cut him out of the show. And that is called, what's the word of the day?
Man-interrupting.
Man-interrupting, which could be a positive, it could be a negative, or it could be a...
Correctile dysfunction.
Yes, correctile dysfunction. I think that's one of our children trying to get into the room. But you know, the whole point is, because our children are about to come in, the whole point is that we interrupt each other all the time. Or sometimes our kids interrupt us.
Is kid-interrupting a thing?
Maybe.
Hi, me.
Carmen wants to.
Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, go get Carmen.
Okay, so now that we cleared all of that up, wait, I cleared it up. Give me a kiss just so they know that I'm not.
Oh, I'm so happy.
And give me a kiss.
Kiss me.
There it is.
My favorite part is how, like, ridiculously expensive the room looks.
Correctile dysfunction.
Dysfunction.
I've never heard that one before either.
Yes.
I've heard mansplaining, manspreading. I thought I heard it all, but I
You'd
had
think
never
somebody
heard
would
of
have come up with
correctile dysfunction.
You would have think somebody would have come up with man-interrupting at the same time as mansplaining. Stop man-interrupting me, and definitely stop mansplaining to me.
So in response to the red carpet video and then this follow-up video, so many people were saying Alec Baldwin is a victim of emotional abuse and tyranny under Ilaria.
Bro likes it.
No, he likes it. He's loving every moment of it. And you know what? Even if he doesn't love this treatment that he receives from her, a lot of people were also saying he deserves it regardless because of the type of person he is. And we talked about that on episode 800. But I saw this one response. Alec Baldwin has physically attacked several people and would regularly get drunk and scream at his 11-year-old daughter, calling her a pig. This is exactly where he is supposed to be. BPD fake Latino women were created by God to punish aging narcissists who no longer have the energy to yell back. The whole point of marrying a wealthy older man is that his testosterone is low, he's tired, haunted by his choices, and easy to dominate.
He does sound tired, like, all the time now.
Yeah.
He's always kind of whispering. I think I saw somebody in the chat mention, like, why is he always whispering now? He does kind of always sound like he's got two modes where he goes from whisper mode to yelling mode, and there isn't really anything in between.
Trump is kind of the same way these days. It's just a factor of aging. But
Fun
he
fact.
spent his entire life screaming at people and being a tyrant, and now he's low T and can't really keep that up anymore. So she's the one who has to wear the pants in the relationship, clearly.
My guess is this is the first time that shirt has ever been worn to bed in something that wasn't a porno.
Yeah. Further proof that Alec Baldwin has a humiliation fetish. In a recent episode of their TLC show, The Baldwins, Alec goes into graphic detail about seeing one of Ilaria's ex-boyfriends naked on stage at a Broadway play. That's just a funny little tidbit, you would think.
Props
but he
to
went
whoever
into
grabbed
such
this
detail.
screenshot.
And he looks just so beaten down.
No.
doesn't he?
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to critique this in the same way that people are doing to Rachel Zegler, which is they're grabbing unflattering screenshots on purpose.
Okay.
But as unflattering screenshots go, this is a pretty good one.
No, yeah, it's not terrible compared to the red carpet video where he's breaking the fourth wall. But yeah, Alec Baldwin revealed that he once saw his wife Ilaria Baldwin's ex-boyfriend naked during the performance of a Broadway play. This was in a new excerpt from their show on TLC. Exactly who the mystery ex-boyfriend is will not be revealed, but the topic came up when Ilaria was asked if she'd ever dated an actor before Alec.
I mean, it
She
must have
said-
been ages ago. They've got 7 kids.
Yeah, in the 2000s, I think. She said, no, I wouldn't date an actor when he was an actor. I dated an actor who then got to be on Broadway, and we went to go see him naked.
Now, the
And
question is, did she
think
let him know beforehand?
Yeah, no. I think that Ilaria knew that this guy was going to be naked in the play, but didn't warn Alec
Till
that there was
after?
that was a
No,
part of
the
it.
worst part is, like, right as she, like, it comes out full frontal, she goes, I dated him.
Yeah. Then he finds out, and then it all comes crashing down.
Mm-hmm.
Alec says, I've seen one of the loves of her life naked, although Ilaria quickly clarifies that the man in question was not a love of her life. And he says, Alec says, he was a very important boyfriend of hers, and we went to go see him on Broadway, and he was naked, and as our British fans would say, he had his bits out.
I hope he said it in that voice.
So they say they were married in 2012. So 10 years later, they headed to Broadway to see the revival of the Richard Greenberg play Take Me Out. It's like a baseball team in the play. And it's not clear if any of those actors were one of her exes. But they say all these baseball players were in the locker room and they were all turned around naked with their dongs hanging out. Alec says he's there. Her boyfriend is there. I recognize him. I've met before. And when he turns around with his thing hanging out, I'm like, oh, okay. He had a clarinet hanging from his pants. The guy literally turned around and we were all like, whoa. And then Ilaria says, I think you remember this more than I do. That's telling. He said, you can't pay attention to a word he's saying. He's talking about meeting the guy backstage after the fact, which is so unnecessary. He's standing right here talking to me. I'm like, you have a baseball bat that you stuff into your pants every day. How does that work for you? Alec admits that he's ready to move on from the subject, but he felt that it had to be told. I mean, why are you just going on and on about how, you know, hung your wife's ex-boyfriend is or was? Like, that's really kind of
some
a
weird
lot.
form of deprecation beyond just the norm.
That's what I'm trying to say. There's only one logical explanation, and it's that Alec Baldwin has a humiliation fetish.
He's like, he had a clarinet and Alec has a harmonica.
Like, what instrument metaphor is the most flattering versus the least?
It was like
he didn't say oboe.
Did you see those photoshops that were going around after the Kanye and Bianca thing where she was naked and they photoshopped and made him naked? And then then they just blacked.
I'm glad I didn't see that.
And they just blacked out his crotch. I said all he had to do is respond with just the blackout being longer, and it would have been really, really funny.
Yeah. And he would have too.
Just move on from it.
Yeah. Why does this all need to be aired out? I guess that's the point of having a reality show.
Well, I know. Like the scary part is like, I'm imagining in 10 years when you're having those conversations about your earlier years, just never have this ever be part of your like, oh, wasn't that so funny when? Just weird.
And you also don't go backstage to go talk to the guy while he is still in a state of undress, from what the sound of it.
See, I think the Hollywood lizard people made him do this as a humiliation ritual to allow him to keep his wealth and not be sent to jail after what happened to Helena Hutchins.
Well, yeah,
That's what
most of the time he is getting embarrassed and humiliated by his wife, Ilaria. But in this one clip that was posted by Ollie London, Alec Baldwin calls out Ilaria for her fake accent.
He channels his inner David Beckham.
I just imagine the entire appeal of watching the Baldwins is the fact that they are constantly arguing. Like, they're in this house with 7 children who are all screaming all the time. They're in a constant state of distress, and they're arguing with each other all day, every day. And they seem like there's just this simmering anger below the surface. That's why people watch this show. So you can see an example of it here.
Go ahead.
So, yes, I agree that that's your reality of it. But what I used to do is I would say yes, and then I would do whatever I wanted, and I would just keep it from you.
You gaslight me.
No.
After my first marriage, I said, let's have a prenup.
I want
She
to
wasn't
think
happy
about
about it.
No. First of all, I
it's
still
an
don't
awkward
understand
thing.
quite what it is awkward, but I don't actually quite understand what a prenup is, because you're like, after a certain number of kids, it's this, and I was like, you know what? I'll just sign it, which was probably very stupid.
Have you ever seen those ones where the guys put the weight clause in, where every 10 pounds, for every pound they gain, they lose like $1 million?
Sounds fake.
No, it's a real thing.
Okay.
That's a real thing. It means that you have to go to a doctor before, like, as part of the legal process beforehand, and be weighed. And then
Well, then they're just going to add as much water weight as they can before the appointment. But yeah.
Me back then. Now I would read it again. But like, I just said I was signing. I don't really want to think about the end by the beginning. And then you're like, yeah, I don't want to do it.
Let's talk slower. You're speaking English in a Spanish cadence, which is always perilous for me. Slow down just a kiss. I can't understand you. Go ahead.
I mean, he didn't call it out as fake, but...
Point being, Iradia is not Spanish as she claims to be. She's actually a white woman named Hillary, born in Boston, I believe.
The best part would be if one day she just has a thick Boston accent and doesn't address it.
She goes in and out of it depending on her mood or maybe how much she's drinking. But yeah, I imagine that would be annoying to live around that.
I wonder if I think she's lying. I think she knows what a prenup is, and I think she knows how it works. And
yeah,
I don't buy that she's just like, oh, sure.
A lot like Lauren Sanchez, she doesn't look very smart, but she's calculated.
Do you see that their wedding invitations went out?
Oh, they're finally getting married.
In Italy. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep,
I wonder why.
They're finally gonna get married.
What changed?
Be quite something if he loses like half his net worth again and he's still like a gazillionaire.
Yeah. Well, no, I think they're in it for life. I'm pretty sure.
You think so?
Second
they're
time's the charm.
You think with a different in physical appearance so drastic from wife 1 to wife 2, you think this one is the one that's true love?
I do think
the one who looks like Robo Sex Doll.
Jeff Bezos is okay with who he is with Lauren Sanchez, that being the operative term. It's about him.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
it's about who he believes himself to be and what being married to Lauren Sanchez does for his own self-image. That's the reason why I think it's going to last.
I don't buy that thirst can be quenched. I think that's something that has to be re-upped every so often.
Maybe
when she ages,
we'll see.
When she ages more. In fact, it'll probably become more pronounced as time goes on.
I guess I just thought they were going to stay engaged forever.
Well, let's hope. All right, let us move on then. We have more to get into.
Season 2 of Severance has just aired on Apple TV Plus, which literally no one pays for or has. But I've seen a lot of discourse going around about the show. Some people are saying that if you don't understand or like Severance, you have no media literacy, which is such a buzz term these days. And others are saying that it's just boring and slow, including Timothy Poole. He's on a rampage over the weekend tweeting about Severance and how he tried to give it a chance and it was just unbearable. He tweeted, "People keep raving about Severance. It's painfully slow. I'm just skipping shit." He followed it up saying, "People who watch Severance like watching old men make out and are intrigued by a major plot point of an old man trying to find his lost boyfriend."
See, I think Tim is just revenue farming right now.
Well, okay. For those of you unfamiliar, I know this because I watched the first season of Severance. I have not followed up on the second season, and they've already been greenlit for a third. But there was a 3-year gap. The first one came out in 2022.
I hate this.
And what?
I hate that. Well, look, did you see the article? So the guy who made One Piece, the showrunner for One Piece, like left before season 2 can come out. He's like, I just want to thank everybody for the most amazing 6 years of my life. I'm like, 6 years to make one season.
It's insane the amount of time that they're waiting in
like
between
they're
streaming shows.
You know what the fault of this is? It's the medical industrial complex for making us live so long. Back in the day, we died so young. You had to get 22 episodes out a year for gosh sakes, because half your audience might be dead by the following year.
Yeah, well, the first season of Severance came out in 2022. I watched it. I liked it a lot, and I realized I was going to have to wait like a billion years for the second one, which is why I lost interest, and I'm not going to watch the second one in all likelihood. Also because it's on Apple TV, and no one wants that. So the premise is all of these people are going into a job where they're a completely different person. Their brain is split. Their brain is severed. They have one version of their psyche that engages with their job, and they have a different version of their psyche that is their life outside of work.
I mean, I do that now. Nobody's making a TV show about me.
Well, look, that's why it has such an appeal for people, because it's a meta commentary on work-life balance and I see the appeal. It's basically a thought experiment, although I agree with the people saying the thought experiment was exhausted after the first season finale. It wasn't needing anything else to follow up on it. It was just an interesting idea. And then by now, everyone's kind of noticed it's gone downhill. Tim also said, I wonder why so many people started posting about how good Severance is. It's not. Alongside this article claiming Apple has lost $1 billion a year on their TV business. Why can't their shows reach mass appeal? Despite huge investment and award-winning shows, Apple TV Plus is still struggling to make a mark and reportedly losing up to €1 billion a year. They see it as a damning indictment of Apple's Netflix competitor streaming service.
It's because they've only
had Severance and Ted Lasso and then a bunch of other shit that no one's heard of.
No, Silo did fairly well. They've done a bunch of stuff that was really, really popular, in so much as you can call something on Apple TV, which nobody has, really, really popular, right? So what I believe it is Apple TV made the choice from the beginning that they weren't going to IP farm. So they're not buying up IPs. They're creating their own original stuff. And if anything, it's an indictment of everyone who's like, why doesn't Hollywood make anything new anymore? I don't want to go to the theaters.
No,
it's
that's
all
true.
the same stuff all the time. And I'm like, make the slop. I love the slop. I don't care, because everybody's lying. They don't actually want something new. They want to be force-fed something that they think is new, but is based on original IP, because they're not going to put the money behind original products. You know why? Because Apple TV, the only place that can do that is Apple, which makes $93 billion in profit a year. Not 93 billion, $93 billion in profit by selling people mediocre phones.
They're not mediocre.
I'm just kidding.
I stand by
I'm just
that.
kidding. The point is that people don't actually want original content, and this is why I dunk on it so hard. I don't have a monocle, so I can't watch Apple TV. I don't have a butler. I can't watch Apple TV. I didn't get a master's degree. I can't watch Apple TV. I'm sorry.
Well, they
but
do.
in all seriousness, they have about 44 million subscribers on their platform. Here's the thing. They spend about $4 billion. They used to spend about $5 billion a year in content. Well, Netflix has like hundreds of millions of subscribers, and they spend like $18 billion a year on content. And that's why everyone knows what Netflix is, but nobody really cares. I actually believe, I fully believe that there's been a boardroom meeting in the last year where they're like, Mr. Cook, we lost like $1 billion on streaming. He's like, we have a streaming service? Holy shit.
It seems that the way they're running Apple TV as a streaming service is quality over quantity, which, at least in theory, I appreciate. It's not the best business move when you compare it to the success of Netflix, but they put a laughable, ridiculous amount of time and thought and money into the shows they make as originals.
Yeah.
And this one being included in that. They are, bringing in Oscar winners to write and direct these things, and they really want it to be seen as prestige television, which
this
is
would start
different
being,
from Amazon.
Maybe this is what they should start doing. So every time somebody says Hollywood's out of ideas, you just ask them, do you have Apple TV? And if they say no, be like, opinion disregarded. If that's your
unless it comes with your
phone,
Sam's Club card.
It is actually kind of crazy that Apple doesn't just give you a year free when you get an iPhone.
That is crazy. But
that's
it would
insane.
Then that would be too widespread, wouldn't it? Right?
Chris B in the chat says Wolf's was great. I didn't get to see it. I did want to see Wolf's, but the thing is whether it's Wolf's, not Wolves, Wolf's, or what was the one? Fly Me to the Moon. Which they tried to release.
That was an Apple original?
Which they tried to release in theaters.
Wow.
Nobody went and saw it. They paid the money for the stars. They paid the money for the celebrities. Nobody cared.
That was Scarlett Johansson and
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum, yeah.
It's just, look, nobody cares about this stuff. You're better off going. I am currently watching. So I found several. I had a very good weekend for new television.
Okay.
I was suggested Terriers with Donald Logue. It's really, really good. And I found a show, a little police procedural called Blue Ridge, about a guy who just took over the sheriff's job in a place called Blue Ridge. It's I think it's supposed to be in the mountains, and it's made by some showrunner who does mostly Christian or faith-based productions. It's on Roku, of all places, and I bet you it costs $9 in a pack of gum to make. Like I bet you they paid the actors in gum and like
Compliments.
compliments, gum, and like validated parking. That's
Maybe
what they paid them.
some Starbucks gift cards here and there, a muffin basket.
And guess what? Roku's pulling in tons of money these days because ads are where it's at. So whether it's Apple or whether it's Roku TV, whether it's Amazon with the ads and all that stuff, the money is going where the ads are. And I definitely would not pay for Apple TV with ads.
We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Apple is working hard to try to be what HBO used to be. They have no problem losing money in the short term. They are building up a hell of a library.
Yeah.
So since you had the idea of just giving everyone a year of Apple TV with their iPhone, they could do that. And since ads are where it's at, as you said, give them the ad tier.
I wonder,
give them the ad tier.
I don't even know if they have an ad tier.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah. Introduce an ad tier. Give
it's
it
just
to
Apple
the
ads.
Give it to the
themselves.
iPhone users for their first year since they bought the iPhone, and then maybe if they want to keep it, they will keep it or upgrade to a premium version of it. That's like a money-making machine right there.
Let's face it, the way to make money on that is like to get the free trial, you got to put in your credit card, and then a year from now, you suddenly start getting charged. And they make whole apps now to find out the things that you're still subscribed to that you don't know.
I'm getting bombarded with ads for Rocket Money, which is entirely dedicated to deleting the subscriptions you forgot about or the ones that you're getting scammed into.
Yeah.
But as for what you said about people craving original content or claiming that they do when they don't actually show up to support it, I saw a response from the Quartering. He said, I know this is making you money, but this show is objectively good. We suffer through a mountain of remakes, reboots, and modernizations. Warts and all, this show is unique, fresh, and entertaining. I'll come on Timcast and we'll fight about this. I would love to see that. And then Tim responded, Severance is a good idea, bad execution. I like the idea, so I just skip half the show because it's slow and doesn't advance the plot. In before TikTok brain rot. I don't use TikTok and I have no problems with non-mystery box shows. So, I mean, I thought that it was slow and interesting in the first season. I'm guessing the second season is a major drop-off in keeping people invested because they didn't plan for it necessarily to get this far. I really hate when you can tell they're making it up as they go along unless it's just kind of a comfort show that was on network television where they were responding to ratings in real time.
Yep, like Lost.
Severance seems like a great idea that they didn't think would get renewed.
Should have hired J.J. Abrams. At least then there would be explosions and...
Really?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I watched Lost and it was wasn't really all explosions.
Maybe Terry Quinn will show up in this one. Look, I just the Quartering also said that if you go to see Snow White, you're a bad person. So yeah, I don't know why.
Really?
I'm assuming because Rachel Zegler.
Like I guess I'm a terrible person then. Did he really say that?
There was a tweet about that.
Let me look at his timeline and see if I can find it. Was it basically just you're giving money to people who hate you?
Yes.
So, well, that would just make you dumb. That wouldn't make you a bad person.
Well, this show is directed by Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller hates us. Or you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller actually responded to Tim's tweet with a nerd emoji. A lot of people are also saying that you need to be media literate, or they're saying the same thing as the Rick and Morty meme. You need to be a certain IQ level to understand Severance.
What did I say before? Yeah, I read a tweet that said Severance is a 105 IQ's person's idea of what a 130 IQ show would look like.
Yeah, and I won't even argue with that. Like, even while I was watching it, I was like, this is so interesting. Like, I just feel really interesting for even watching this because it's so interesting.
But the media literacy arguments are the worst. The worst people make the media literacy argument.
They didn't reel me back in, is the point. I don't think I'm going to be returning to watch.
And it's hard when there's 3 zillion years between seasons.
But if this means anything, Matt Walsh loves Severance. He hates everything, but he loves Severance.
Well, that just confirms the boring part.
Yeah?
Yeah. You just know he's...
Say it to his face.
Actually, I saw the picture of him getting a dog. Like,
Got a
did you
dog.
see? They got a dog, I think.
Interesting. He
And
doesn't seem like a dog person.
And I was like, without the repetitive flannel on, dude looks like he works out a little bit. So maybe I wouldn't say it to his face. Who knows?
Props.
Okay. All right. Let us move on then. We've got more to get into today. Meghan Markle is back, and so is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Last week, we talked about a recent profile of Gwyneth Paltrow in Vanity Fair, in which they asked her for her opinion on Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand as ever, because Gwyneth Paltrow is the poster child for celebrity lifestyle brands with her Goop lifestyle brand. They wanted her to provide advice for Meghan Markle as she is crashing and burning right now. And basically all she said was, oh yeah, like I've met her. She seems nice. I just like, I don't know. I don't really know her. Next question. And she was kind of being shady about it. Now, Gwyneth Paltrow's fans claim that she is throwing immense shade at Meghan Markle in a new Instagram post. She is shown in this video making breakfast, and she's in her pajamas. And there are a couple of Easter eggs people are pointing out that seem to be a little bit of a subtle dig at Markle.
But this is why life sucks now, because real life has Easter eggs.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just like I posted earlier about, it was like straw activists are mad at MAGA, and I'm like, this is why life sucks now, because you have to have an argument about this.
Well,
paper straw activists are fighting with plastic straw activists, and that sucks, and so does having to look for Easter eggs in real world videos.
The people digging up Easter eggs in Gwyneth Paltrow Instagram videos might sound crazy, but they are not crazy for thinking that celebrities and influencers put thought and curation into their content to the point where they might be even sending a secret message to each other.
Well, the problem is that Meghan Markle puts in too much thought to her content. That's why it never comes across as authentic.
Yeah, which Gwyneth Paltrow wasn't really willing to call her out for that publicly. But in this video, let's show it. Not with the music, though, because we will get copyright claimed for that.
This one here?
Yeah.
All right,
you
here
can
we go,
see that she is making scones.
I also imagine that shirt costs more than my rent payment every month.
Yeah, she's seen in this video wearing her pajama set and sipping coffee in her kitchen.
It's a 20 there.
Francisco Sanchez Jr. said, "Hi, butter and margarine. I can't even put on an eye patch, fake peg leg, and parrot on my shoulder to watch Apple TV shows. Not interested."
I don't blame you.
Yeah, that would be a lot of effort. So here she is in the video. People pointed out that, is it playing?
Yeah, no, I was waiting for you to.
I thought we were having an issue playing.
Nope, here we go.
We can't listen to the music though. People were pointing out the mug that has a monogram on it with her initials. They're saying that that's a dig at Meghan Markle because of her Sussex monogram.
Or it's just because, bro, rich people just get shit monogrammed.
I know, right?
That's just just rich people shit.
Yeah. And then you see her making these scones, and then she cooks eggs really badly, and that's kind of part of the charm of it all. She's admitting in this caption on the video that they were really messy, and she's also pointing out that she's in her real kitchen, which is a dig at the fact that Meghan Markle is using a fake kitchen for her Netflix show.
Or maybe she's been following the Justin Bieber stuff with Selena and Haley Baldwin.
Yeah, with Haley pointing out that she's in her real kitchen and stuff. So I don't even believe that Gwyneth Paltrow like eats bread personally, but that was just me pointing that out. A lot of people have said that she clearly has an eating disorder, but maybe this is just her special cheat day. So yeah, after this video came out, a bunch of people pointed out the song that she put in the background is "This Will Be an Everlasting Love" by Natalie Cole, which is the same song used repeatedly in all of the promos for Meghan Markle's Netflix
according
show.
To Andy Signori says Meghan's promo used "Do You Believe in Magic?"
Are we sure about that? Is this a Mandela effect?
Might be a Mandela
A Markle effect? Because everyone is saying it's the same song.
Andy says it's
Daily
different.
Mail claimed it's the same song.
Maybe he was just looking at a different promo.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he was just looking at a different promo.
Yeah, a bunch of people were pointing that out. And then others were commenting, being as relatable as she can be in her pajamas, hair not styled, no makeup, no one praising her, just filming with her phone, simple, easy. She's in her real kitchen, you know,
I don't
all of
know
this stuff.
Look, I don't have an iPhone, but the depth of field on that looks pretty good for even like for how close those objects are. So I don't know.
It's an iPhone video for sure.
The rest of it looked like one. The rest of it looked like that.
The
That
iPhone
shot
footage just
specifically-
looks like that.
Yeah.
You can do really good quality footage with an iPhone. I don't think that she's lying about the type of camera she's using.
Would be funny if
But
she
the
was
point
lying.
is, everyone is saying, oh, look at how relatable Gwyneth is being. That's not the point. That shouldn't be the point, because obviously Gwyneth Paltrow is anything but relatable, and she would never want to be. And that's why we appreciate her, and not Megan, because Megan is the one contriving relatability. Gwyneth has never even attempted to be
She should make a video where she's like, oh my gosh, like the wrought iron gate got jammed at my house, and now I have to get somebody out here to fix my wrought iron gate and all of the pillars in the front of my infinity pool. She should make videos about all of the struggles of living the way she lives.
Yeah, I just think that it's charming that Gwyneth Paltrow has never tried to make people think she's like the commoners, you know? I think that's what people appreciate. So I don't really understand the tone of all these people praising her for being down to earth. Gwyneth Paltrow is, like, in the dictionary, an antonym of relatable and down to earth.
Yeah.
She is anything but those things, and I appreciate that about her. But yeah, a bunch of people were saying this is a pointed attack, and others said Gwyneth isn't that petty. She's been doing videos like this for ages. Meghan Markle is cosplaying as Gwyneth Paltrow.
I believe that.
Because she has no original ideas of her own and copies others' successful formulas. And you can see that it's kind of a copy and paste of Gwyneth Paltrow's marketing model, not the other way around. And then also, the celebrity fitness trainer Tracy Anderson did a promo for Gwyneth Paltrow's brand Goop the other day, in which she points out she is in her real kitchen, which is another subtle dig. Let's play this one.
Audio, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Tracy Anderson. Welcome to my actual kitchen. We have a Tracy Anderson Green Goddess Crunch Goop Salad coming
Goop
to
salad. Goop salad? Does that
Goop Kitchen
is
for
that
you. We have this beautiful cruciferous
appetizing for
quartet
anyone?
full of
I
Goop
tend
kitchen?
to avoid, just like gush and goop and gush
and goosh?
and goosh, you should avoid all of those words. All the G words. And glop.
Hi, I'm Tracy Anderson.
grok.
Welcome to my actual kitchen.
I mean, nothing in her face is her actual face, so trade
Goop
off.
salad. Yeah, that's really appetizing. That doesn't remind me of Gwyneth
Which you're
Paltrow's
also not
vagina
s-
candles at all.
What you're also not seeing there, even if that is her actual kitchen, there's like lighting in there to make her face look even with the background, and so there's no
course.
shadow from the camera.
There's so much
There's
about
there's-
that video that is contrived and curated, but that's fine. The thing is, she's pointing out I'm in my actual kitchen because she's throwing shade at Meghan Markle for using this professional set on her Netflix series
Which is how
instead of her home.
most of those shows are done. They're not done in someone's actual kitchen. They build sets that look like kitchens.
Right, but also in the Netflix show, Meghan Markle never even claimed that was her kitchen. I would understand if she were lying about it, but
Yeah.
she admitted that it wasn't her house. So here were some of those comments in response to Tracy Anderson. Mean Girls is so 2004. Maybe reflect on your comment before you say it next time. Shocking. A woman cutting another woman down with a passive-aggressive snark. Do better. This was an unnecessary dig. You can't tell us you didn't know exactly what you were doing. Tell me you're not a girl's girl without telling me you're not a girl's girl.
Well,
It's
technically,
2025, babe.
you're
We're
putting
not
her down.
mean girling and screwing over other women while we continue to fight for our rights and protections. This was all in response to Tracy Anderson just saying, I'm in my actual kitchen.
the
Have people not lost their minds?
the
Like,
level of like self-importance from the modern Western woman sometimes is insane.
it's the people who are on Meghan Markle's side and Meghan Markle's haters. They both sound equally deranged at this point. And I don't even like Meghan Markle.
We're fighting for our rights as we bitch about kitchens.
About goop kitchens and jam and
I guess
peanut butter pretzels.
I guess cutting. Here's the thing, though, is this young lady that you're talking about here still loves to cut women down, but what she's done is she's taken the safe route to do so. So she just has to wait one step. She has to wait for another woman to make a dig at another woman so that she can fulfill her innate desire to cut down other women. It hasn't actually solved the problem. She's just giving herself a fair target.
Right.
You're allowed to do it as long as you're, it's okay when we do it. Because you don't lead by example. You just kind of wait for somebody to, ruin the moment.
Right. You pretend to be a girl's girl until just the right moment to pounce.
Then what you do is you wait to see just how excited they get when they get to finally do it, because it's innate.
Where,
just like men.
If you're willing to just be real, then you'd say, I'm not a girl's girl. I'm just a person, and you're a person. And if you do some shit that I don't like.
Just like men become hyper competitive with other men, especially for the affections of women, it's innate to who you are. It's part of evolution.
What is a guy's guy? I've heard that term. A man's man.
So I've been sending.
Not the same thing as being a girl's girl.
I've been sending a lot of videos over the weekend of these things. It's like, this is your sign to go on a trip with the boys to Afghanistan. This is a sign to go on a trip with the boys to Iran.
Oh no.
I guess that's a guy's guy.
So what does that mean?
Dude, you don't worry about the ladies. You go hang out with the bros.
Okay.
You go
bros before hoes.
Bros before hoes.
Okay, I see.
I mean, that's real anyways. So.
Yeah, until it's not, that type of language always works until it doesn't. And then most ridiculous, Meghan Markle is accused of clapping back at Gwyneth Paltrow with this latest post promoting her as ever jam preserves. She says in this Instagram caption, when one of the besties reinvents a banana split for breakfast. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It's a banana cut in half with berries and granola on it.
So
they reinvented a banana split.
Well, it's literally a banana, and it is split, so technically.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah. Well, it's like the...
And then look at how they do the rest of the video here.
Voila, voila.
Oh, props for the boomer finger in front of the lens.
Uh-huh.
Cheers. Cheers. Go there. Like that.
She's like, one bite, I'm done.
Like, how do they not know that this comes off as incredibly fake and gay?
It was, it's like reinventing the banana split. I saw this thing recently where they were talking about companies that did that did like war propaganda in the World War II. And they're like, we've been lied to by the government. They're like, actually, Disney made tons of war propaganda stuff. You just didn't pay attention in history class. It's like, you didn't reinvent the banana split. You just haven't been in a kitchen for very long.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, is this lifestyle content? Like, is this...
I guess.
Is this life-changing,
Don't
innovative information?
Don't worry. If you're worried that this is coming off on the sexist side, we're going to make fun of a male influencer later that's just as bad.
Yeah,
so.
We're equal opportunity haters here on Pop Culture Crisis, always. I'm not going to pretend that I'm, like, taking sides. If you're cringe, you're cringe.
See, the thing
I think
is,
that Gwyneth Paltrow is just inherently more likable than Meghan Markle. It has nothing to do with anyone being a feminist or a girl's girl or women supporting women.
The thing is, guys, to succeed on the internet a lot of times these days, you have to succumb to the cringe. You have to allow yourself to be cringe, because what you do will always be cringe to someone. So you must learn to embrace it. Let it be all you are.
Goop is cringe to plenty of people.
Yep.
I would never buy a Gwyneth Paltrow vagina candle, but there's a market for that.
Perfect. All right. What would you like to see? We'll do cringe first, because you said it's really bad.
The cringe is, in fact, terrible today.
Okay,
I mean, I'm warning you because I care.
Okay.
This is a bad musical performance, which is Brett's favorite type of cringe, of course.
I mean, that usually only bothers me when it's in front of an audience.
Well, it is. You can see it's on a Zoom call.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Me. That's right. Me. It's all about me. I've wanted this shit since I was fucking 3.
Why'd you mute it?
That microphone is not plugged in.
It's on a Zoom call.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
It's on the computer.
learn to do it without the microphone. Kind of like when people do TikToks and they have the hand motion, which is like you can't stop it. Just learn to do it.
Look,
Without
let her do her thing.
Okay. All right.
Famous, but I convinced myself that shit was heinous. Like, all those fucking artists, those people are narcissists doing their own shit while the world fucking burns. I ain't happy living my life that way. I feel better when I let myself fucking slay. Me. That's right, me. It's all about me. I've wanted this shit since I was fucking 3. I always knew I'd be famous, but I convinced myself that shit was heinous. Like, all those fucking artists, those people are narcissists doing their own shit while the world fucking burns. I ain't happy living my life that way. I feel better when I let myself fucking slay. Me.
She got paid for that, by the way. According to her, she got.
There
paid
wasn't
for that.
something that you could find to rhyme with fucking burns.
Nothing rhymes with kombucha. Prove me wrong.
Orange.
Door hinge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got to keep going.
So that was that.
If this wasn't my job, I would just call it now. But you know, let's keep going. All right.
The call of the content. You know.
I wouldn't last a day in your Instagram algorithm. That's for sure.
Yeah. This is just my Reels tab right now. It's just cringe all the time.
All right, cute of the day. Josh submits a derpy dog, which I enjoy. It says, we are dog sitting for our neighbors. This is Jack. Don't hate on his derpy tongue. No, that's only bad when it's Mocha.
Very cute.
Mocha had one this weekend where the tongue was literally like this far outside of her mouth. And I was like,
How does she not notice?
I was like, bro, are you okay?
How does
she
she
didn't
not
do
notice
anything because
it's
she's so
happening?
dumb. She just kind of keeps looking at the floor. That's why we love her.
I usually see dogs with that problem, not cats.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Josh. Let's do one more. This one's from Sweet Beats. Can you
Aw.
find Jack, my favorite laundry helper? Well, everybody needs a laundry helper.
Very cute.
That's usually Chloe for us. Chloe's usually hanging out on top. Well, used to hang out a lot on the top of the dryer.
Just making sure that everything's,
Yeah.
you know, all,
Terrified
all
of the
going well. you know.
terrified of the bath and the shower though.
That's so funny.
Terrified.
Most cats love those
Yeah.
places.
Terrified of the bath. and the
Most
shower.
cats love hanging out in the tub.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started then. That was bad.
The results are in for Snow White's box office opening weekend, and it's bleak. They made $43 million domestically and $87.3 million globally. This is well below even the predictions that we were seeing. Those were in even the 50 to 60 million range. This is much lower than they thought. And the major cope that I'm seeing currently is people pointing out this is a higher opening weekend than Mufasa, which is now making much more money than I even expected it would. That's not really a one-to-one comparison because, first of all, Mufasa was in a holiday box office. It first came out alongside Sonic, which got way more play before Mufasa did.
Also, when it came out, it monopolized all of the IMAX screens for like several months, and this is
Yes.
not going to be able to do that. They're out already because Minecraft comes out in like 2 weeks, and all of the ADHD riddled children will be having their attention span thrown over there.
They're not going to want to see Snow White. They're going to want to see Jack Black in Minecraft.
Also, you could make the argument that the audience for The Lion King is not just families, but it's families for boys and girls, whereas
Yeah.
the audience for Snow White is mostly just families and girls.
Yeah, but even that, as I said off camera, millennial parents don't care about Snow White. They don't, you know, that one wasn't a favorite of millennial Disney adults growing up because it came out in the 30s instead of the 80s or the 90s. They loved Aladdin. They loved Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid. That, like, Snow White was just not a millennial favorite.
The other argument for this is that Mufasa made double what Snow White did in its opening international numbers, whereas the numbers for Snow White were almost on par, were at parity with their domestic box office. So Mufasa opened to like 30 something, but like 80 something internationally, whereas Snow White opened to 43 domestically and only 44 internationally. And if this movie isn't making up that box office, remember, a lot of the times movies make a third of their box office in their opening weekend, which means that this movie is not on track to do very well.
We have a 20. Pop Culture Junkie said all the indie studios that have movies premiering this weekend are upping all their advertising with buckets full of cash. They now have a painfully weak Snow White to compete against versus the juggernaut they had planned for. Well, they shouldn't have even planned for that. This was entirely predictable.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to fail already. And then it's also just getting dragged by even the critics, which you wouldn't expect. You would expect a lot of critics to run cover for this movie, not only because it's Disney, but also because of the cultural, socio-political baggage that comes along with it. But here was a list of the worst reviews. The Independent says lazy, visually repellent. The Guardian calls it exhaustingly awful. The Times says Disney has trashed its reputation with this movie. Huffington Post calls it a strange, hot mess. Screen Daily calls it listless. Vanity Fair says good enough for TV.
Look,
and
I've been reliably
BBC
told
says the film has a major identity crisis. I couldn't agree more with that one specifically, because as we were pointing out, it felt like they had gone through so many rewrites that the plot they came up with by the end had nothing in common with the lyrics of the songs they made for the movie.
And the dwarves were
which
just
had nothing to
thrown
do
in
with the marketing for the movie.
And the dwarves were just thrown in there, and True Love's kiss was just like extra and added on. I'm surprised he didn't kiss her on the cheek.
It was like halfway.
It was like, he kissed her right here.
It was like
what I
around
think it was,
this area.
What I think it was is I think that they had a particularly mean intimacy coordinator, like just off screen, and he was like,
"You're a centimeter off." Yeah.
And then that's what happened. Or Rachel Zegler's like right here, like she like there's probably CGI. She like drew a like kiss here on her face to show him where he could kiss.
Right.
Yeah.
And he had a shock collar on. If he went a centimeter off, they would shock him.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score right now. They have 43% from critics on Snow White and 74% from audience.
Which is funny because if we're looking for a movie to compare it to, you could theoretically compare it to Ariel and the Little Mermaid, which opened its score is sitting at 67 from the critics and 94 from the audiences.
Which is just crazy. That was not a 94 movie.
Now, if you go to all audiences and not verified audiences, it's 57.
Okay.
But
verified meaning they proved that they bought tickets.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also we know that Rotten Tomatoes is rigged anyway because they're owned by Fandango.
Yep.
And Rachel Zegler has...
It's 23% for Snow White without the verified audiences.
Damn. Well, okay, that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure there are some people intent on giving it a negative review without watching it.
Top critics give it a 30% rather than just all critics.
Yeah, so they're being even more critical. I felt like they would have run more damage control for Snow White if it had come out in 2024 as planned, but also if it had come out maybe back in 2022. The cultural landscape was just so different to a point where they feel safe to criticize this movie now.
No, I don't think it's even necessarily just the cultural landscape. I think a lot of them just hate Gal Gadot and they love the chance to.
So you said off camera that they're probably from their side of the aisle going to blame Gal Gadot's activism for the low performance of the movie.
Not her activism, her bad acting, despite the fact that she's only in the movie for like 6 minutes.
Well, her bad acting, valid criticism, but they want to point it out and place the blame on her because they are against what she does politically.
All of the reviews say this movie sucks, but Rachel Zegler is a standout, which is actually basically kind of what I said. I said she's fine in this role, but there's this drip of like, we do it because of what she believes. Like the Discussing Film had a tweet that said, this is Gal Gadot's worst performance of all time, and that's saying something. They're doing that because they're weirdo activists who believe in hashtag Free Palestine, and they're talking about the Oppression Olympics. It's also funny because Rachel Zegler made like a tribute post about it, and she left Gal Gadot out of it. I'm sure it was just a mistake.
Do you see her childhood Snow White costume?
Which I had not seen that picture before, or if I did, it had been so long. I don't even want to know what's going on there.
Is it in there?
I don't think it's in here, but
it's in the tweet. It's in the pop-based tweet.
Yes, I have that. Here, hold, please.
You said that it might have been faked, like the way that they tried to claim Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's.
I would like to believe that she's like, look, break glass
Looks
in
like
case of
her.
emergency.
It looks like her, though.
I mean, I guess.
In her Instagram caption, she said, "This movie was a life-changing experience that has held about 4 years of my career. The growing up you do from age 20 when I was cast to 23, the age I am now, cannot be accurately described. Yet they exist here on film forever. I became a real adult during the course of this film, learned hard lessons, did hard things, laughed, cried, turned 21, lived across the ocean from my family, made new friends, and completely fell in love with this group of people I got to work with for 3 magical summers in London."
3?
That is insane. "We had the greatest crew in the world on this movie. It cannot be overstated. This photo dump doesn't even dig into the fun, the magic, and the love that was shared throughout this process. But it's a start. Snow White is now in theaters. It's a huge chunk of my heart, and it's now yours. I hope you enjoy and feel the magic we were lucky enough to live each day. And remember, you're the one who can fill the world with sunshine."
Unless you voted a certain way, in which case you don't deserve to ever know peace.
Yes.
So then let's ask this question again. First of all, there's a 20 there.
Oh. 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. "Internally at Disney, the thinking is that Zegler's press stumbles cost them millions. Do you folks think there will be any changes in handling of difficult talent in future tentpole movies? More careful casting, perhaps?"
So actually, this is why I wanted to ask this question. So I will address your point here. So on one hand, you've got them over a barrel because they want you to have like no less than 1 million followers before you even get cast in something these days. On the other hand, they want to strictly and tightly control the way that you promote these movies. But then I have to ask this question. So we've spoken before about the idea of whether an actor's missteps or problematic quotes that YouTubers end up talking about actually costs them at the box office. So on one hand, the argument is that when someone like Rachel Zegler says a bunch of stuff that annoys a bunch of people, YouTubers make videos about it and ends up hurting the movie. On the other hand, people make the argument that, like, is that even really a thing? Do enough people actually watch these creators on YouTube to end up tanking the box office of a production as big as a Disney movie? I tend to err on the side of believing that apathy and lack of knowledge of something existing does far more damage to a movie. And if you went out right now and you asked 15 people what they thought about Rachel Zegler, they would say, who is Rachel Zegler? Or is she the one in that one movie?
Yeah, incredibly unlikely that someone would even know her name.
Yeah.
So I maintain my take. I stand by my take that it's true. Apathy and bad marketing is the reason for the underperformance of Snow White. The culture war or anything akin to it has nothing to do with it, relatively, because the people who were mad about Rachel Zegler's commentary in the first place were never ticket buyers.
In the chat, Rick C says, "Not true, Brett. Most people know she's a loser." How do we know that?
No, they don't.
Like, how do we know that?
That's
like,
not
how do
real
we
life.
know that people know who she is?
The online discourse about wokeness is not real life.
Her comments were already out there when she made a Hunger Games movie, and that movie did fine. It didn't do great, but it did better than this.
And she was the star of that movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not about Rachel Zegler. I mean, I know that it would be really satisfying to come up with that narrative, but it's not true. I feel like it's genuinely just normies not caring about this new Disney movie.
There's a 20.
Dreamcast Knight said, "I think this is a grand case of Disney getting foisted by their own actions. The Disney crowd is big into free Palestine leftism, and they cast a former IDF Israeli in the movie, so the normal pay pigs won't go."
Look, there's also an argument to be made. If we're going to take the premise that you guys are that is being made that's important, then they have lost audiences on both sides, because there's plenty of people that theoretically wouldn't go see it because Rachel Zegler is annoying, if we're basing on your premise is true. And then there's a ton of people who would say, I'm not going to see it because I don't like Gal Gadot. So is that the case here? I don't know.
I would say it's a better decision to boycott it over Gal Gadot's Imagine video, but
I tend
got
to
memory hold.
believe that most people, when they go to these, look, we talk all the time about how the age of the movie star is dead, right? So if the age of the movie star is dead and what they say doesn't matter, then how can it be both?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would be more interested, rather than going to theaters and asking people what they thought about the movie, I would like to go to just general places and be like, so what do you think of Rachel Zegler?
Like
what do you
literally
think of-
every person in that video, maybe besides like 1 or 2 exceptions, would be like, who?
Yeah.
People don't, you're right. The
Like-
movie star is not a thing anymore. IP is king, for better or for worse. They feel an apathy, rather, not an antipathy, an apathy toward what Disney is making. And that is the problem.
That is, well, I said, they got rid of Kang from Marvel. They don't really care about, like I don't believe that anybody's like, oh no real person is like Jonathan Majors is no longer Kang in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel was just making crappy movies up at that point. The apathy had already set in. So, and I think that that's going on all the way here. The other thing that could possibly theoretically help this movie is like when a Marvel movie comes out, it's like big in its first weekend and everybody goes, and then the numbers tend to drop off a cliff, whereas family movies tend to have stronger holds week after week. I don't know if that's going to happen for this movie. Like I said, it's already segregated down to mostly family audiences with girls, because I just don't know if they're going to if the boys are going to want to go and see this movie. I don't see this movie doing that well.
I want to stress again that millennials don't care about Snow White. That's a huge reason why it's underperforming. I know it's like the first Disney princess movie, and that's historically relevant for them. It was supposed to come out last year, the 100-year anniversary, but
they got Wish.
They had Wish instead. So that was a missed opportunity. But millennials went out to see The Little Mermaid in live action. It didn't even do that well, but they supported that one because they grew up in the 80s and 90s when that came out. Okay, so nobody cared about Snow White. Like, none of the millennials grew up loving Snow White. Almost none of them. And they also, in the live action Little Mermaid, re-performed the same original songs from the animated version. In this version of Snow White, you hear none of the original music. It's only original music they made for this version of it.
And they couldn't even get Lin-Manuel Miranda to do it. They must be broke.
Or Rachel Zegler just must not like him.
Maybe. I mean, that would, I don't know, maybe.
They have a beef.
She's going back to Broadway anyways. She's going to do Evita. So,
well, in London, actually.
I would like to know your guys' thoughts, because this is one of those topics that tends to keep coming up, is do the normie audiences know these actors and know about their controversies, or is that just us on YouTube, or does it affect them greatly? Does it or doesn't it? Let us know in the comments down below, especially if you're watching this on segment after we clip this and post it tonight. I would like to know what you guys think. Do you guys believe that Rachel Zegler's poor comments made in 2022 and 2023, and then her comments about Trump, did that affect the box office of this, or is it just that nobody cares about Snow White anymore? All right.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. There is a new Save the GONGO ad announcing the PCC partnership and merch featuring Olivia and the musical talents of Mary."
Oh.
I don't remember agreeing to this, but okay.
It's like, how do you feel about royalties? Is Mary getting royalties off this ad?
Yeah, where's my ex ad revenue, man? Well, if we have some extra time later in the show, we'll go find that. Greg Duvier said, "We need to save the GONGO. The reason is because I can't find it on a map, which means they are so oppressed the colonizers don't want it to exist." Yeah. It's true. It's like
the cartographic,
that famous clip from that pageant girl who said, you know, it's because some people don't have maps, and
that's called cartographic oppression.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Username I'm not going to read said, "He has an oboe, Alec has a kazoo."
I said harmonica.
Harmonica. I mean, kazoo is probably a better one. Yeah.
Let's do one more.
said rich men paid escorts to dominate them like Alec. Yes, exactly. That when you look at Alec Baldwin's behavior, you can see he's exactly the type, you know?
All right, let's move on then. We got more to discuss.
In the latest episode airing from A White Lotus on HBO, audiences were shocked and disgusted to see two characters engaging in incestuous activity. I really can't come up with a euphemism for it. It's just incest on TV. And this is what we're expected to watch in our casual viewing with popcorn. We're just chilling after work and we're expected to watch brothers doing it. That's what's on White Lotus. It's not the only incestuous plotline in White Lotus, from my understanding. Although I am not actively watching this show, I have heard about these other examples in the show. The latest being between two characters who are brothers in the show named Saxon and Lachlan.
Who names their kid? I actually like the name Lachlan, except for I'll never own a yacht, so I can't.
Well, now
name
you can
my
never
kid.
use it.
No,
It's going to remind you of this.
This is an aside, but I was thinking about that recently. It's like how names get ruined for you because of the internet. Now you've got like 5 names to choose from because every name could get ruined if you look enough on the internet.
So Lachlan is played by an actor named Sam Nivola, and Saxon, the older brother, is played by Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Yes, that is Arnie's son.
Who, ardently claims that his fame and success has nothing to do with his last name, which is hilarious. So fans were tweeting about their reactions to the scene. In short, you're seeing these two brothers engaging in sort of a threesome with a female character who encourages them to get physical with each other. I won't get graphic, but it is graphic. And there's also another scene in which one brother watches the other masturbating in the show.
Can I just point out just a really, really serious element of hypocrisy that comes from these people? Whenever Hollywood losers get on their high horse, they like to insult the Bible Belt and talk about inbred.
Okay, yeah.
You're the ones pushing the inbred shit, you weirdos.
That is true. That is unequivocally true.
Like, come on, man.
Right, but that's the thing. That's what they do. They'll make a show that has something extremely debaucherous, creepy, evil, downright degenerate. And then when you say something about it, if you notice that, if you raise an eyebrow at that, or you think that that's creepy that they made it, then they say, no, you're the creep. Yeah. You're actually the weird one. You're weird for thinking this is weird. And we're like in this weird game of chicken almost, where it's like who's going to point it out first.
Vera Dark is in the chat. And she says,
say?
in Game of Thrones, it's one thing because it's supposed to be medieval fantasy, but a current day timeline is insane for incest storylines. Yes, that was a very common trope in like high fantasy and stuff like that. Because
I still don't want to see it in Game of Thrones, but at least you could say it makes more contextual sense.
And the argument there is like, it was just red meat for the studios that wanted to do these stories anyways, because they're like, well, we weren't going to cut that. Looked like an expensive show until we saw the weird family incest. Now we're totally going to do it because Hollywood wants to do that stuff.
Yeah. So here were some of the tweets in response to this episode. To say it's disturbing would be an understatement. Another one called it terrifying. Others loved it. One said, Saxon and Lachlan will be having full-on gay incest sex in the finale of this season, and I will be more seated than I've ever been for anything in my life. There are people openly saying, with their whole face and name out there on the internet, that they want to watch gay incest sex scenes. This is how little shame we have in society now.
Somehow I'm picturing like that what was that person's name? Like the
Bay Harbor Butch.
I'm picturing at some point the Bay Harbor Butch is like going in for a job interview and they're like,
this is in the files, you know. Yeah. Do they know that the internet is forever? And then, you know, they follow up in the episode with both of the brothers' reactions the next day. One of them claims that they were both blacked out and he doesn't remember, but then you can see the younger brother Lachlan coming to a realization of what happened and having a little bit of a mentee-bee about it. The actors both have addressed this scene in different interviews, and I wanted to talk about their reflections on what it all means, because, right, it's really deep, right? Like, it has this really artistic meaning to it that you just must not be media literate enough to understand.
That's
like,
right.
You just must
not.
be such a country bumpkin if you don't understand the art that Hollywood is presenting to you.
Okay.
So here's what they had to say in the Hollywood Reporter. Patrick Schwarzenegger says, there's some sensationalism, but then there's also stuff behind the wall of the character and what he's dealing with in the conflict of what just happened. What is that going to do to who he thinks he is? His thoughts on what is it like to be a man? What is a man? What makes all these different things that he thought he stood for in the episode and the days before?
What does that have to do with jerking off your brother?
They refer to Mike White, the show creator, saying he does a great job with my character with that scene, but also in past seasons, always bringing something really fun and outrageous that sparks a conversation, that gets people talking. No one knows what it means, but it's provocative. But also has a lot to do with the character's story and where he's going, especially with the relationship of Saxon and his little brother. There's always more than what meets the eye of shock value on the screen.
We should actually be sparking less conversations.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about what it means to jerk off your brother, actually. I would much prefer for us to just never talk about that. So then there's this other interview between Variety and Sam Nivola, who plays the younger brother, Lachlan. He says, in the scene, Patrick and I are brothers with this girl who we just met the day before. It was very weird kissing Patrick because he's a really good friend of mine. And, you know, I'm straight, he's straight. Press X to doubt.
Wait,
it's already weird.
I thought that this was still a problem in Hollywood. Aren't they supposed to hire... Oh, I guess because they're also technically straight because they're having sex with the girl. They should have found bi actors.
Right. It's already weird. It would have been easier if that was the first time we were meeting. Weirdly, it was easier to do things with Charlotte. He's referring to the third character in the scene, played by Charlotte Laban, because there were no stakes. It's just this person I've met, but Patrick was already like a brother to me. It felt sort of effed up. And the interviewer says, well, that's good for the scene, I guess, that it felt effed up. And he said, yeah, it's good. They talked about an intimacy coordinator, and they talked about all of the dynamics and like what it says about the characters.
Maybe this is where the male. Maybe this is where the male intimacy coordinator. That 1% of intimacy coordinators that are male. Maybe
he
this
referred
is where
to as a woman. Yeah. So they ask him. There are hints at a strange dynamic between the brothers. In the first episode, Lachlan watches Saxon undress and stares at him a little too long naked. In episode 5, when they are kissing, Lachlan goes back for more. Is Lachlan sexually attracted to his brother, or is it something else? What a thought-provoking question. So,
how about we just
Sam Nivola
says, how about we just not? We could just not. Like, what if there was like this absolute hero in the writer's room that was like, how about no?
How about no?
How about we just don't?
Sam Nivola says he's referring to Lachlan. It comes from a sense of insecurity. He really looks up to his siblings, not from the point of view of physical attraction. It's more curiosity and trying to figure out which kind of person he's going to become. He tries to connect with him in whatever way he can. Lachlan is a people pleaser who will try to get people to like him by any means necessary. Looking at Saxon while he's jerking off isn't a sexual thing. It's more that he's studying him. Like, who is this guy? How can I get him to like me? How can I be more like him? What he learns over the first few episodes is that Saxon is the sex guy. His primary motive is to make money and get laid. So the thing on the boat is Lachlan's tragically misguided attempt at being like, so you're the sex guy, let's do something in that realm and try to connect in some way. It's obviously a big swing and a miss. Yeah, so younger brothers who want validation from an older brother try to hook up with them? No, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. There is a way to write characters with that sort of dynamic in a brotherly way that isn't completely pornified. And this is so degenerate and disgusting, you would almost think it comes from showrunner Sam Levinson, who's responsible for Euphoria and The Idol, also on HBO Max. But it is not. And I just wanted to bring up this clip That reminds me of Sam Levinson. It's not just Sam Levinson, though. It's all of these showrunners. They all think like this.
Full penetration, and we're gonna show a lot of it. I mean, we're talking, graphic scenes of Dolph Lundgren really going to town on this hot young lap tech. From behind, 69, anal, vaginal, cowgirl, reverse cowgirl, all the hits, all the big ones, all the good ones. And then he smells crime again. He's out busting heads. Then he's back to the lab for some more full penetration. He smells crime. Back to the lab, full penetration, crime, full penetration, crime, penetration. And this goes on and back and forth for 90 or so minutes until the movie just sort of ends.
Art.
Guys, we're going to show full...
That's what we're supposed to believe is art. And I know that was just a joke, right? But now I feel like it just predicted the future. Then Charlotte LeBon, the third actor in this threesome scene, speaks to Vulture. They ask her, the tension has been building between the brothers, so the kiss scene in this episode is a big moment. What was the vibe leading up to that scene on set? She says, I think for Patrick, it was really difficult. For Sam, he was kind of like, it's whatever, let's just do it one time and it will be over. Because if you don't do it well the first time, you have to do it over and over again. Patrick's reaction...
Talk about stage fright.
Yeah. Patrick's reaction in the episode is his genuine reaction. We all thought he was going to throw up. It's just what you're willing to put up with for the art. It's just what you're willing to sacrifice for the art is,
Think you mean
your dignity and your
paycheck.
lunch.
Paycheck and validation from trade publications.
Now, speaking of incest in TV shows, you brought this to my attention. I was completely unaware of it. When I watched 90210, I had no idea that there were incestual undertones.
Guys, is this how you hug your sister?
So this is Brenda and Brandon in Beverly Hills 90210. I still love this show, but you're claiming they had some kind of incest undertones.
Okay, I played you the clip.
Where do you get this from?
I played the clip. I only watched one episode, and I played the clip, and I showed you the clip. And the first thing you see is she walks into his room, and what did she say? She said, you have to help me pick out what I'm going to wear.
Okay.
Is that what is? Do you go into your brother's rooms and say,
never? I don't think that's ever happened.
No.
No.
The point was that actress Shannon Doherty was regularly kind of asked by fans about the incestuous undertones between her and Brandon, and she said it was very difficult because she found Jason Priestley to be very attractive.
Yeah, this is from actually just last year. Jason Priestley and Shannon Doherty totally knew their 90210 characters had sexual chemistry. So they asked Jason Priestley about this. He said, we used to make jokes about it all the time. Mm-hmm. Shannon and I had a lot of fun making the show together. One of the reasons we had so much chemistry is because we genuinely liked each other. We were all young and having fun. We had fun making the show together, and the fact that we all liked each other as much as we did, it really came across on the show.
Yeah, remember Michael C. Hall married Jennifer, what's her name, from Dexter, and they were technically brother and sister on that show.
Priestley admitted there were a lot of bizarre things that happened to us in the show. And then Shannon Doherty added, Brenda and Brandon were always so interesting. We had an interesting relationship, meaning the real people. There was a sexual undertone of Brenda and Brandon that to this day is hysterical. She pointed to a 1992 Rolling Stone cover of the two of them that underscored how obvious those undertones were. She said, I'm like straddling you. So bizarre.
I
never knew that was a thing.
I merely asked you the question. I said, would you go into a sibling's room and ask them to help you pick out what to wear?
No.
And then...
Okay, but that in and of itself, that's not incestuous.
It's the undertones are there.
It shows that in the show, they just moved to LA from Minneapolis, and she's like worried about seeming cool. And she knows that he's always been more popular than her, so she goes to him for advice.
Well, they're very close,
right?
They are.
But then he calls her cute. Do you think that's the weird part?
I thought the whole thing was weird. At the very least, introducing the show that way, I would never do. I am not
the hugging. Okay, the hugging is like
there's no explanation for this.
Fine,
shit.
It's weird. Fine.
Again, Hollywood will gaslight you and then be like, what do you mean?
But I don't care. I love Clueless. I always will.
Look,
I don't think that was weird in Clueless.
And here's, but at the time, that was still considered pretty risque.
Was it taboo?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, because it was her ex-stepbrother.
Yeah, even the fact that, their parents aren't even married anymore.
That's 90% of Pornhub now.
But their parents aren't even married anymore for years in Clueless. And then they had just been living apart because he's off at college, right?
Yeah.
I mean, more people these days would have a problem with the age gap, which is like 3 years difference in the movie. But I think that one, I'll give it a pass because I just love Clueless and I will never take it back. But
all right.
Some issues were just not handled with the most tact.
It's just, it was the way things were back then.
It was the 90s. But now we're in the 2020s and everything is way worse. So maybe we should have called it way sooner. Yeah. It starts at Clueless and it ends at White Lotus and Brothers doing
There's
it.
Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Time marches on. Mm-hmm. All right.
No Control says Severance is just a worse version of Dollhouse. You've seen Dollhouse. Would you agree?
I mean, I haven't seen Severance, but Dollhouse is... So in Dollhouse... what happens is people who have misbehaved and are then sent to punishment, they sign their life away to this shadowy tech firm, which then wipes their entire brain clean. So they're just a blank, a human doll that gets uploaded with the consciousness of other people so that rich people can have their, say they want an escort who's exactly like their wife, and their wife, or they want, something, they want to bring their wife back. There's a really famous episode. Sorry, the escort part. I'll wind it back. So Patton Oswalt plays a man whose wife died, and her consciousness is uploaded to a computer. And then every year on her birthday, he has the consciousness uploaded into a blank doll so that he can relive his wife's birthday. And it's oddly profound, and probably the only good performance Patton Oswalt has ever given in his entire life. But the whole point is, if you want an escort that does this and this and this, they have multiple personalities uploaded into a person.
Okay.
And then when they're done, they wipe the person blank again, and they're just a blank.
Yeah, I think the reason the Severance premise is resonating so much is because people just they love talking about work-life balance these days, and there are people like Hub's Life, for instance, who legitimately live a severance life, like he's a different person outside of work.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel that way, so the show has this meta-narrative that they find relatable, even though it's a science fiction show. And I also think the acting in it is quite good. I like Adam Scott in it. Obviously Patricia Arquette is incredible at acting, and she's in it too. I like her.
There's I see a reference
She's great
here.
in the act.
Blaine in the chat says Cruel Intentions had a bunch of perverted relationships. That might be a better example, right? So
never seen it, though.
If you want to think of 1995 Clueless as the innocent version of that, then you go and you think about the 2000s movie, or the 2000 movie, or it might have been 1999 movie, Cruel Intentions, with the sexually promiscuous and aggressive stepsister who offers her own body up to her stepbrother as a reward for ruining the life of a girl she doesn't like. Because she won't sleep with her stepbrother, who constantly tries to have sex with her.
Yeah, that's pretty twisted.
It's basically just based on Dangerous Liaisons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't plan on watching
One
that.
of Sarah Michelle Gellar's best roles, if I'm being completely honest, and I love that movie because she's the bad guy in that movie. She's objectively the bad guy, whereas Ryan Phillippe's character goes through an actual character growth and evolution because he falls in love with the girl whose life he's supposed to ruin.
Okay. Do you think I would
Honestly,
like
I think you'd like it.
You do?
I do. Like, it's probably out of everything...
Is it graphic? Is it graphic?
Not really.
Okay.
Not that I remember.
Because if it's graphic, I don't want to watch it. If it's just psychological, that's fine to me.
Now that considering, I think you might like it. It might be worth you watching and letting me know. Maybe not. Maybe you'll watch it like this is
my review.
Like this is degenerate shit. But the way I see it is like the most degenerate of the characters is the bad guy, and the other degenerate character goes through a strong character arc of growth.
I don't have a problem with watching people do evil things in movies and shows. It's just sometimes it feels like it's shown for the sake of being shown in a pornographic way.
Ben
in an obscene way.
Tomsky says it's graphic. I don't remember.
Is it?
I don't remember the graphic
I have no idea.
stuff
I'll
in
check the
there.
parents' guide. That's what I usually do. Easy E said, based on the average ticket price, the AI songs of the comment section for the Snow White trailer are set to eclipse the movie in viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately
Let's
true.
do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, don't forget Argyle was Apple TV Plus. Tim also didn't like Lost at all because it was a slow burn. Also, unpopular opinion, I liked the ending to Lost. I agree.
I watched a video.
Gets a lot of hate.
I've been watching this. I hope this guy. There's no way this guy's watching the show, anyways. But there's a.
What if he is?
Yeah, I already forget the name of it. I watched a review this weekend where a guy said, like, not only do I love Lost, I love the ending too, like unapologetically. I was like, good for you. Stick
Well,
by.
I didn't love it. I just don't understand why people hate it. Personally. No Control.
One more.
Said goop salad, yummy, yummy.
No, thank you. All right,
I'll pass on that.
let's
Thank you.
let's move on.
A fitness influencer named Ashton Hall is going viral right now for an absolutely ridiculous video he made showing his morning routine, or at least what he wants his audience to believe is his morning routine. And it begins before 4 a.m. And in the span of like 5 hours, I swear this man gets nothing productive done. And the video is spreading like wildfire because, I mean, truly, it is the epitome of an influencer grind set grift.
I mean, this dude's winning because Instagram is literally nothing but this dude right now.
Yeah, I can't escape this content. I mean, it's just driving me up the wall. Everyone wants to be, a parody version of Patrick Bateman at this point.
Get ready, guys. You're about to feel really freaking lazy.
Yeah, he's going to make you feel like you get nothing done in your morning. So he wakes up with the mouth tape, first off, and then this weird device on his nose.
It's
Rinses his mouth with Saratoga bottled water.
That's a flex.
He's doing his morning push-ups.
I noticed he's
meditating.
journaling. I noticed he's journaling on the first page.
More Saratoga. Face plunge. It's already been 2 hours. He's getting dressed for the gym. Can't forget the fanny pack. Sprinting. Diving.
No diving allowed.
Soaking. Towel. Back home. Shower. Banana. Banana peel. He's rubbing it on his face. More Saratoga.
So looking at it, bro, we got to go ahead and get in at least 10,000.
E-course. Breakfast. Served by lady friend.
Thank you.
More Saratoga. I have no idea if this guy is paid by Saratoga.
I mean,
but
if he's
I've
not, that's hella
seen a
free
reported
promo.
11% increase in Saratoga's stock value since March 10th. Just because of the impact of this video.
I wish I had gotten in on the ground floor of the Saratoga stock buy.
Bro is washing his face with sparkling water and rubbing a banana peel on his face. I still don't know what that's about.
So the thing is these videos are designed to make you feel like shit.
Yeah.
They're designed to make you feel lazy.
Yeah, exactly.
If you get up and you shower and you go to work, you're a bad person unless it's a cold shower. Mm-hmm. This is why everybody's so unhappy these days. It is.
Because they're all comparing their lives.
There's an argument to be made is like if you regress to the mean that maybe if one person makes one positive change about their day, they're like, look, I don't know if I want to get up at 4 a.m., but maybe I'll get up in cold shower because the logic being I want to do something at the very start of the day that I don't like doing because it makes the day easier to handle.
Sure.
Like if you mentally challenge yourself.
Yeah,
really.
that's
okay, so
fine.
if a person makes one change, maybe he's not that bad, but like this is the type of content that kind of is pervasive on the internet now. Ollie, that thing is like one of those, it's like a breathe, like a magnetic breathe that
it
like
helps
stretches
you open your nose.
Open your nose. And he did the mouth thing, which is supposed to be really good for you as long as you don't die in your sleep, where it helps with breathing at night. See, the thing is I love guys like Diamond Dallas Page who show you the results of changing people's lives through like DDP yoga and all of these lifestyle change that happen. So it's more a matter of it seeming kind of, to me, it's more that it looks comically opulent.
Yeah.
Okay. Like he's like, it's like if he had just put regular water in there, it would have been fine. But no.
Yeah. No, but it's like if you're really rich, why don't you have a water purifier instead?
Prove to me that you didn't refill that Saratoga with tap water.
Or Dasani, even worse.
Oh.
We have a 20 from Not That Jon Stewart. There's another version of this with a white guy, for whatever reason, almost scene for scene the same.
Yeah, I mean, this is just this is its own trend online. It's to make you feel lazy.
I love that he just doesn't even wake up at 4 a.m. It's 3:40 a.m. for some reason.
Because you're a bitch if you wake up at 4.
It's like you got to be up by 4, not awake at 4. You got to be up and around at 4.
Let's watch this video of a gentleman who's even more well-traveled and even harder on his grind set.
Yeah, if Ashton Hall saw this, he'd be punching the air for sure.
Here we go.
4 a.m. Push-ups.
Awesome, and would you like to purchase my course as well for $19.99 a month?
Minute by minute, he's traveling to different countries. He's doing push-ups in every country. Movie premiere, more breakfast, more push-ups.
Batman.
Batman. Photo shoot. Birthday party.
Snow.
The seasons are changing. More push-ups.
He's the Rock.
He's the Rock. Another shower.
Arrested.
He just got pulled over. He's at the beach. Push-ups. Bro has lived like 400 lives.
Time went back. Went back in time.
We can't keep up.
Look, man, do you want to make $10K a month or not?
I do.
Okay, then I highly recommend that you purchase my course, as it will levitate your knowledge to 100%.
Okay.
You know, we were talking about these fitness influencers and the hustle culture influencers and the grind set people last week because, you know, we were wondering what's the female equivalent of these types of influencers. I said that it's probably women who fashion themselves as gurus in astrology,
femininity,
witchcraft, femininity, dating.
Find your divine feminine.
All of
through
those
the cycles
things,
of the moon.
But, you know, I think the grind set influencers really are reflecting where we're at in mass culture. Like, men silently but seemingly all at once have taken back mass culture. I think that for the 2010s and most of the 2000s, women owned mass culture, and every year was Year of the Girl, and it was hashtag feminism, everything. But now that's changed. Thank you.
It was
put a
back.
girl on.
It's
every
fighting
year.
back.
Every year it said put a girl on, and then you put a girl on. But now I think like men are owning the 2020s, and I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just is. And I don't know. Do you see the same thing I'm seeing?
Mostly because of the decentralization of media. So this is by sheer will of men not being given that platform anymore, right? Or any year when men do dominate, there has to be some think piece about why that's a bad thing. There was the article this year about like the biggest movie stars of the year, like the top paid movie stars of the year, and it was like 8 of them or 9 of them were men, and everyone's like, but why? Well, that's because the men negotiate harder, or they're also producers on the movie. There's any number of reasons. The culture we live in naturally leans to the feminine now. And there is a subversive version of that on the internet, which goes the other way. And then you get what we're seeing now with adolescence, which is trying to make its own think piece commentary on the manosphere by making a television show, which is apparently really, really good from everything that I'm seeing, that it's just absolutely groundbreaking as far as like cinematography.
Yeah,
that it's
the continuous
really, really good.
shot thing.
So what you're seeing is just the natural evolution of a cultural space where they didn't have a voice 10 years ago. I mean, they did. It was Tony Robbins and people who sold you courses through infomercials. Now you just see it through social media. The other female version of this, guys, is slutty real estate agents.
You know what? I think that what we went through was the death of bro culture before we got to like the mid 2010s. Bro culture died because you had like the inability to do anything that like endangers your career opportunities because of social media, and you also had the death of frat culture because
so they would call
of Me Too.
It was when rape culture became a term.
Rape culture on campus and everything, you know. And then partying just wasn't really fun anymore, and people became more and more online. So bro culture just like died out, and then we saw it dormant for this last 10-year period. And I think this is sort of what's coming back to replace it, is like grind set and hustle culture. It's not really having fun. It's not about having fun, you know, or being a bro. It's about like, you know, waking up at 4 a.m. doing burpees. And
I mean, it's also a response to r/anti-work.
Yes, it's like a lot of young men are attracted to the idea they can find a cheat code and that they can get rich quick, and you can use the internet because you've grown up with the internet to somehow like find this like way to make money. Like you can be one of the below the line workers in an industry like OnlyFans, or you can sell an ebook and sell an e-course, and then there's even an e-course for how to sell an e-course. There's something called,
because you have to grow your knowledge.
Yeah,
you have to grow your information base.
I'm pretty sure there's this thing called what is it, the academy, or like the school or something, and it's literally made by a guy who is selling you the ability to create an e-course through his e-course school.
But I'm going to tell you why it won't work. Why Ashton Hall is built different. Because he took a 4-minute dive. He was in the air for 4 minutes.
I bet he can walk on water too.
Says it right there. He jumped at 7:36. He hit the water at 7:40. Unless you're literally going back in time when you dive, you're not on his level.
It's so crazy how dispersed everything is on social media. Like, he's still a micro influencer and he has 9 million followers. He actually just gained 100,000 in the last hour since I checked. So this going viral has been only a good thing for him, even though he's getting clowned on. And his bio says you can reinvent your entire life in 1 year. Is that true?
Well, okay, so the other meme that's that always goes around in like hustle culture, Instagram reels, it's like disappear for 6 months. Have you ever seen that one? Disappear for 6 months.
Yeah.
Do nothing but learn a skill. This, and that. 6 months for the rest of your life. 6 months of hustling for a lifetime of freedom. If that isn't the most snake oil bullshit you've ever heard, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's... I think that it's people like Ashton Hall, it's people like Luke Belmar, who we were clowning on the other week, it's people even like the Tate brothers. They're kind of part of this sphere of influence. And a lot of the dating and manosphere gurus overlap with it, but it's also
for all of
fitness and self-improvement cult.
For all of the problems of Andrew Tate and the crimes that he's accused of and admitted to seemingly in past videos, he at least had like a time where he had funny and slightly insightful things to say about the gender war and things like that early on. And he was like, listen to his clip about Spider-Man and you'll laugh and be like, okay, if I didn't know this guy wasn't such a bad person, I would find him funny. Right?
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever. Now it really is just, I would rather you look at all of these people. This is what I used to say about headlines. Okay, so every time you read a really funny fake news headline in the news, just imagine it on the cover of National Enquirer and it makes more sense, right? Every time you see one of these videos from a hustle and grind influencer, just imagine it as an infomercial at 2 a.m. and you see its target audience.
Right. Yeah, there are
It's
a lot
the same with stuff with community college courses or for schools during the day where they know the people are at home. It's because it's for people who are at home and are looking to make a change in their life. It's all about directed marketing towards a specific demographic.
Whoa, okay. Look at this one that I'm sending you right now. I think the product placement couldn't be more obvious. He literally breaks a glass bottle of a different
I saw
brand.
this one earlier. Yeah.
And then he gets his toes done. He gets a pedicure.
It's the loudest pedicure in history. I would just like to warn people.
Yeah, ASMR trigger warning here.
Bro couldn't clean it up himself. He broke it.
He said F Mountain Valley.
Yeah.
I like the light pink.
You do?
Smooth.
Okay, yeah, it looks nice.
Ready, fire, aim.
That's what he's reading.
At least he's not on page 1. Have you ever seen the memes of how LeBron James is always reading page 1 of a book?
Yeah, he's such a pseudo-intellectual. More Saratoga.
Thank you.
Someone has to hand me my Hermes belt.
He says thank you, though. He's
Polite. Quick, someone fetch me my Hermes slides.
Okay, I think the real problem is we're going back to mid-2010, like to mid-2000s sunglasses, and that's a problem. For women, that might work. For guys, not so much.
How you doing? Doing good.
This is just, it comes off as embarrassing.
Again, this has nothing to do with hustle culture as much as it is to do with wealth. It's supposed to, it's not about grinding. It's about making you look at what he has and making you envious of it
And
so that you'll
wonder,
buy the
how
course.
did he do that?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to learn
It
with his
doesn't work.
mentorship program.
It doesn't work if he gets in an Uber.
Right.
It doesn't work if he gets out a freaking regular bottle of water. A plastic bottle of water?
I'm not like a Dave Ramsey fan, but I want Dave Ramsey to just go after these people. Like, I just want him to talk some sense into the target audience someone like Ashton Hall is looking to capture. Because this is clearly all completely fake.
At least he didn't take a picture of his food.
He has the content and the lifestyle and the apartment of someone who is living off of debt.
Yes.
You know, someone who is striving to maintain a certain image, who is in massive amounts of debt, and yeah, is using social media to validate his ego. That's how it seems to the outside. It just is. It's kind of lowbrow. Actually, it's trying to come off as very high class, like, oh, look at my logo Hermes belt and my Hermes loafers. No, you're being a striver. You know, that's more embarrassing.
I think worse than this are the videos.
You probably bought it with a credit card that you can't pay off.
Worse than this are the videos that are like, I saw a video earlier. It says, I wanted to travel, but all my friends were busy. And he just goes to like South Korea. It's like most people...
Yeah, because they work jobs.
Most people don't travel not because their friends are busy, but because they can't afford to. But it's designed to make a specific segment of the millennial population, dual income, no kids, say, huh, we work laptop jobs. Let's just pick up and go to Afghanistan for the day.
I hope not. Afghanistan.
No, that's my new favorite meme trend. It's like, this is your sign to go on a boys trip to Afghanistan. This is your sign to go on to take the boys to Iran.
I was considering going to Afghanistan last year, remember?
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it openly because
I
I just wasn't sure yet, but didn't end up going because I thought, you know, maybe I just don't want to risk my life right now.
Probably. And it's also one of those ones, if something bad happens, literally 0 people feel bad for you.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like I always made the joke.
I'll be dead then, so I won't need anyone to feel bad for me.
That, like, if I fell and got hurt skating and died, like, everybody would be like, well...
I'd feel bad.
You should have been wearing a helmet.
You were at least trying to do something impressive.
Challenging, yes.
Going to Afghanistan isn't really impressive. Okay.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Never will all gov jazz brute Montez said, hey, Maria Givens liked all the scenes for her kid. What?
I don't even know where this Super Chat is, so I can't see it.
I don't know. Is that a person? Maria Givens? I have no idea.
Okay.
Bagel Bites said, nourish your body with yummy goop.
Stop saying
nourishment.
That. Yeah.
Weary traveler.
Guys, we haven't even gotten to a third crisis party yet. How are we supposed to be on our hustler grind set?
Yeah.
If we're not at our...
How are we going to sell an ebook to the Gongonese?
I can't sell an ebook if you guys don't get us to a third crisis
How
party.
are we going to provide the Gongonese with an e-course on grind set?
Yes.
If you don't give us a third party. This is ridiculous. Weary Traveler said society was better when we had Mean Girls. Well, that's the thing. We never stopped having Mean Girls. We just started pretending that they didn't exist. And we started calling it feminism.
It's why people find it endearing when movies have actual scenes where women are mean to each other, because it's more relevant to the real world.
Like the original Mean Girls, for instance. The new Mean Girls, the reboot, blamed all of their social disharmony on men.
And it's never supposed to be the type of thing where people say that women are like this to each other all the time. It's just highlighting something that is very obviously real in the world without necessarily saying that it's the only way women know how to interact with each other. But people miss that type of honesty.
Mm-hmm. Kenny Ramey said, "Can I get some less of that cringe?" It's too late now.
Sorry.
Or you're welcome, either one. Shane H. Wilder said, "A man's man is one who is someone other men look up to for their masculinity and want to hang out with, doing traditionally male activities."
There you go.
So it's not really a bros before hoes thing. It's like more of a role model, I guess.
Like who would be like considered a good role model in current society? So this is actually something that I find really funny, because I've been, like I said, I started watching this show called Blue Ridge, and in the show, the husband, the husband and the wife are divorced, of course. But he seems like a good dad to their daughter, and like the wife or the ex-wife now goes out on like a date, and he's like standoffish to he's not like, "Oh, hey, you're gonna date my wife, nice." And
wait, how old is the daughter?
The daughter's in high school.
Okay.
And he's like standoffish and makes the really lame like new boyfriend feel uncomfortable, and it's very real to how you imagine an actual like ex-Green Beret who is now a police chief would behave. He wouldn't just be like, "Oh, we're all friends." I was like, see, that's the type of toxic masculinity I want to see in movies and television. Yeah. He's still a good dad to his daughter, but he's not going to take another man. He says like, "We haven't gone on our last date," even though they've been divorced. So he's going to win her back.
That's sweet.
No matter what.
It kind of. I mean, it's not realistic, but it's a sweet thing to write into a show.
I am going to show you the other version. I've shown you this video already, but I do want to show them the other type of female influencer that now exists. But I've shown you this video.
I'm a dancer.
It says, "If yoga teachers were honest."
Whose career was derailed by an injury, welcome to class. When you breathe in, I want you to remember that I'm a white woman with a mood disorder. When you breathe out, I want you to remember that I am unmanageably aroused at all times. Oh! If you really want to be a yogi, remember that you have to commit fraud on your taxes every year. Everything is a deduction. Getting a massage, that's a deduction. Stretching on the beach, that's a deduction. Going on a trip to India to find yourself in an insufferable manner, that's a deduction. And by trip to India, I mean mushroom trip. I'm a silly white lady with an expired passport. A little bit about me. I'm a yogi / actor / model / entrepreneur / life coach / witch / quaternary partner to my polyamorous yoga mentor. He doesn't even know my name. I'm on 40 milligrams of Prozac. These pills can help women get pregnant. I wouldn't know because I'm barren. Why do I teach yoga 7 days a week? Because I have been the victim to several multi-level marketing lotion scams. I'm in a lot of debt. Everyone get into child's pose. This pose really helps me while I'm couch surfing. Not gonna lie, I'm thinking of starting a cult. See you after class if you want to join. Breathe out. Questions about pain in any part of their body, please let me know. The body does keep score, and I should know because I am also a past life regressionist and can tell you how you were murdered in a past life. We can do a session that will be extremely uncomfortable and very expensive. Okay, everybody, thank you. Hi, I'm a dancer.
I missed the one. She has one. She says, "I'm an actor and my name's Weird Al Qaeda," and no, I will not explain it.
Yeah, it's the gurus, man.
Yep.
I mean, they're repeat offenders.
That lady is hilarious, though.
Yeah. This is why I love women doing satire on social media.
It is also what I remember said, like, they don't, like, nothing finishes anymore. The only way to finish a skit now is to finish mid-word when she goes, "I'm on 40 milligrams of Prozac," and then it cuts off.
Pat the Plumber said, "Sorry, Mary, but us millennials grew up watching whatever we had on VHS.
That's actually true.
All the Disney movies, including Snow White, fell into that category."
This is actually true. So in my household, you just went downstairs and I looked at like our wall of VHSs and you just picked one that you've seen 100 times, and you picked from the many that were there, and you just rewatched them. So I missed a chance to see the rad re-premiere with the documentary the other day. But one of the reasons that was because we rented that movie so many times that eventually I think I just kept it. And we probably never went back to that video store again.
Can we talk about the people that we met outside of the movie theater after Snow White?
What about them? They were BMX bros.
Like,
who
can
were
we
there.
just address that happened? I don't know if I have anything to say about it.
It was
It's
awesome.
just,
good for them.
they were like doing BMX tricks.
Yeah. So
together.
when we went to see Snow White, there was the premiere. They made a Rad documentary, and every year they do like a Fathom event re-showing Rad, because Rad is a BMX classic. It is. And these guys clearly had just gotten out of the premiere because they were doing Flatland BMX out front of the theater.
It's just, guys being dudes. What's better than this?
I wanted to spend more time talking to them, but
I could tell. You really hit it off.
they were like, I was like, oh, how did you like the premiere? I was clearly talking about the documentary. Like, we've only seen it 35 times. If I'm being honest, I was like, just 35, bro? I'm in the hundreds of times. I've seen that movie.
talking 3,500.
I've seen that movie in the triple digits, guys. Like, I could have sang
What's your body
I could have
count?
sang all the words to Thunder in Your Heart by just, come on.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Sorry, Mary, no musical royalties from singing Arms of the Angels for the BDFSG. Why would you not want to donate your talents to the GONGO?" You're right. I was being greedy. I'll let it go. They deserve the proceeds from that ad. It's not any of my concern.
Olivia says Mary and I just kept walking. Yeah, nobody wanted to talk about
we were
the
just
BMX,
like, yeah, this is weird. Okay, they're talking. I don't know what to do right now. Can't think of a name said, many rainbow flag men have huge incest fantasy, and this show caters to them. It's fuel for the degen rainbow flag coomer brain. LMAO, I have to censor everything.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what insist.
I think
is
he means
that
incest. Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, thank you for your report. If you're, out on the field, if you're part of this community and you know these things. Yeah. JJ said, help big bro. I'm stuck in the dryer, tiny hats.
That's I mean, at the very least, Cher never asked for Big Bro to help her out of a dryer in Clueless. We do have that going for
Okay,
us.
see, that's what I'm trying to say. They never did anything that was like crazy in that movie. It was like a very innocent thing. And she actually had a crush on a gay guy before that.
Yep.
So she just didn't know what was going on.
Elton?
She was oblivious. No, Elton was straight. Elton liked her. She didn't like Elton back.
Oh.
But what was the name of the gay guy?
Christian?
Yeah, Christian. She liked Christian.
Who played
but
Christian?
was gay. I don't remember his name.
Which was Jason Priestley in it?
That wasn't.
It was.
Jason
It was a
Priestley.
guy. There was a guy in there who I thought looked a little bit like Jason Priestley. Not Jeremy Sisto. Jeremy
If it's
Sisto
the guy
was in
that played Christian, then the guy that played Christian is like way shorter.
Okay, I mean, it
than
was
the guy
more
that
like
played
in facial.
Yeah, I see it.
I mean, the better part was watching him get the hair cut, and she's pissed, and Dion is pissed that he would and then he gets caught cheating because they find hair extensions in the back of his car.
Like Shawana.
I don't wear that plastic hair. He's like,
I don't wear polyester hair. Unlike some people,
and then he
like
tries to gaslight the shit out of her. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
He said that must be that time of the month.
That was Donald Faison. That was Don Faison.
Good
It's such a great movie.
It is
Such a great movie.
Ryan Bledsoe said, don't think online discourse about Zegler and Godot is the main factor, but it doesn't help. I would give it a 5 to 10% on top of the other factors like delays, outdated IP, marketing, bad word of mouth, etc. Yeah,
delays?
Okay, it's not nothing, but it's not even close to the majority of why this movie is failing.
I did like there was I already deleted it. Like Christian Toto had a tweet that says like hi ho. It was like about all the excuses that are coming out. It was like there was a fire on set, COVID restrictions, the strike, and all of these things. And it's like, or just nobody gives a crap about Snow White. I don't know. Snow White and the Huntsman did like the
Snow White and the Huntsman was objectively superior.
Did 20 million back in 2012, which is probably like 40 million now.
Maybe 400 million now.
For all we know.
Pat the Plumber said, problem with Lost was everyone said, so they're dead, and the showrunners adamantly said, no, they're not. Well, you don't need to listen to what the showrunners said. I watched the Lost finale years after the show was over, so I wasn't paying attention to, like, what people were saying about it. I just assumed that they were dead, and that's, you know what, that's still the interpretation I'm going to go with. But people thought that because of the end, the post-credit scene where you see the plane on the beach with the propeller still going. And they said, oh, it was a plane crash. They're all dead. It was all like a dream or something. That they just said, oh, we put that in there just because it was like cool. So I don't know what to make of it.
You know who else was great and clueless? Was the dad.
He was.
2 permits do not equal a license. And what I love about that guy, he played the really, really schemy, evil number 2 in the movie Rookie of the Year, who tries to sell Henry Roland Gardner to the Yankees at the end of the movie.
You know
and then he gets fired and made to sell hot dogs.
He should have played the Penguin.
He could have.
Yeah.
He could have.
Drewish AF of Christendom said, out here in the Gongo, we kiss our homies goodnight. Okay, I don't know if I'm on board with that.
Like, I don't even know if you're really in the Gongo because I don't think they got Starlink out there yet.
Yeah.
So
Shane H. Wilder said, dogs succeeded in doing nothing except wasting like $50 worth of overpriced water. Also, when does he go to sleep? Like 7:30? Seems gay. Yeah, then you're never gonna enjoy a night in your life because you're going to be going to bed before the sun's down like a child.
Like him going to bed at 3, waking up at 3:40 in the morning, me like waving to him because
you're going to bed. Yeah, literally at that time. Weary Traveler said, but did Ashton Hall study? That's the real question. Yeah.
Well, look,
is he brainstorming?
He opened to page 1 of the journal and started writing something down. Now,
he started brainstorming.
I choose to believe that's because he fills up one of those journals every day, and that's why he happened to be on page 1.
He just draws Marvin the Martian in the journal.
No, what it is, he's drawing the S.
Yeah, the S. Omega Red Fan said, I've seen lots of homeless men with less clothes and more swag than this rich man. LOL. I don't know. I mean, he's he definitely thinks that he looks really cool, you know?
He's
Confidence
actually
is half the battle.
He's got the build that makes wearing a suit
look ridiculous.
Yeah, like he doesn't look good in a suit.
It's such a struggle, right? Justin Waller always looks like an absolute clown when he's wearing a suit because he looks like a rotisserie chicken. It's crazy work.
Like there's a point where your shoulders get so big that the suit just doesn't fit right.
Well, John Cena looks good in suits for whatever reason. He must have a good tailor.
He probably has a really good tailor.
Yeah.
But
the other one's not really. Adam said, I couldn't save you from Snow White, but I'd save you from Afghanistan. JK for the reparation fund. Thank you for the reparations. They're fully earned and deserved. Weary Traveler said Mary was going to Afghanistan for her USAID shift. It was actually more so planned like vacation type of trip, like where you get to like go hiking and see the sights and eat goat.
It's literally that meme that says like why Syria should be on every single woman's travel list, and said, who wrote this? The head of human trafficking?
I asked the person organizing the trip, are you sure this is safe?
I mean, unless that guy's paid on commission. If that guy's paid on commission, then he's going to tell you that either way.
Yeah. He claimed that it was completely safe and that women were welcome.
I mean, when
as long as you dress in cultural attire.
When you were telling me about this, I said, I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
I was like, because what happens is something happens to you and they're like, Brett, why didn't you try and stop her?
Go? It's like, what was I supposed to do? She's her own person.
I can't stop her.
Look, if I ever go to Afghanistan and die, don't blame Brett. Okay,
yeah,
blame
wouldn't have been my fault.
Yeah, blame me, or I don't know, just not Brett. Exploding Brinny said, in regards to White Lotus, I guess now we know where those Supernatural fans went. Oh. Yeah, those ones.
I bet you Tumblr's got some crazy shit about this.
White Lotus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would prefer not to think about it.
Well, that's the thing is like half this job is you getting me to talk about things that I very like. I've developed a strong callus to just scroll right past.
It's like water
I saw
off a
those
duck's
headlines
back.
and I'm just like, no, Nope. How about not today? Like, I'm going to keep my thoughts clear.
Scrolling is self-care.
Yeah, scrolling past
something is self-care.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said to anyone who watches the new GONGO ad later, the QR code does take you to the PCC merch site. Details matter. Wow, thank you.
Well, Jack Reacher says that in an investigation, details matter. Also, the new episode was fine. I saw the sex scene with what's-her-name coming from a mile away, and I'm like, oh, I don't care.
You want to show us the GONGO
Yes.
ad? Do you have it?
I'll pull it up here.
Don't do it, Mary. You might. Wait, what? I don't know what that means.
Oh.
I'm not actually planning to go to Afghanistan.
She
guys.
was at one
I
point.
was, and now I'm not. For now, I might change my mind, but
Okay.
I'm not imminently planning to do that.
Here we go, guys.
Every year, hundreds of the GONGO people die due to the ongoing femigenocide.
No!
The Brett Daswick Foundation to Save the GONGO has teamed with Pop Culture Crisis to produce merchandise to help with the GONGO.
At least 1% of the merch of the money will go to the GONGO.
All the colors and designs. A portion of every purchase goes to send packing peanuts to the GONGO.
I'm picturing We Are the World
It's nutrition.
playing right now.
Nutritious. It's yummy.
Ah!
Help with the restoration of the GONGO today.
We can save them, guys.
Whoa.
Brought to you by the Brett Daswick Foundation to Save the GONGO, a 501c3.
That was touching.
It was. I like the
Truly.
subtle crackling
Yeah, me too.
of the old film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting emotional, just like in the chat. Chief
gonna
says
tear
they're
up
getting emotional. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, okay. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button, please, on this video and subscribe to this channel if you are new here and you've not subscribed here yet already. I do want to make an announcement that you will be out of town on Thursday and Friday and Monday?
Yes,
Okay.
on Monday.
Aiden from Lore Lodge will be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. I do want to talk to him about the conspiracy theory that... Bob Marley was murdered by the CIA.
That's gonna be fun.
That'll be fun. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about a lot of other things, but that will be a lot of fun. Just want to give everybody a heads up that Mary will be gone at the end of the week this week.
Not to worry, I'm here for the next couple days. You'll miss me though. It's I feel like it's good. Separation makes the heart grow fonder.
Is that
sometimes.
what it is? Yes.
You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. And remember, guys, that won't be till the end of the week.
Yes.
So if you would like to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Daswick on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, guys. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch this show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which always helps the show as well. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok, but not TikTok because we were banned there, at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, there's one more there.
Shane H. Wilder, still no idea what I'm going to do with all of those packing peanuts. They aren't even the eatable ones. No, you should have gotten the cornstarch ones.
He's like an hour into the
Do a
hospital
taste
visit, I
test.
realized that I wasn't eating the edible ones.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see y'all then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.